your freedom is not granted to you by a state. It's the exact opposite. Actually, the right to life is divine. And so that instantly, for me, when you start talking about reproductive rights, that's like a very colloquial way of trying to present child murder. And so I've talked about this on my show. I mean, we look back on past civilizations like the Aztecs and the fact that they sacrificed children literally to the rain gods. Like they would just slaughter 26,000 children, and kill them because they thought that if we killed these children, then it would rain. We're doing much of the same stuff right now in this society, except we're killing more children and we're sacrificing them for things like my career. I mean, we've had actresses standing on stages holding trophies. I think it was Michelle, I can't think of her last name, who stood up on a stage and said, if I didn't have this abortion, I wouldn't have won this trophy. That's demonic. That is absolutely demonic. If I didn't kill my child, I wouldn't have won this trophy is demonic. And so what's really happened is that people that actually worship Satan, and I'm not saying that in a funny way, have repurposed arguments through the lens of what you're describing of like, well, it's a reproductive right. They're using language to really just do things that are utterly demonic. And I would say that it is ironic because in order to be ideologically consistent, I mean, I know one topic of area that you and I agree on very much is that what's happening to the children of Gaza is wrong, right? Yeah. So how you can say you got to either be pro-life or against life, right? You got to be pro-innocent life or against innocent life, right? Pro-innocent life for me means that I'm going to fight so that people are awakened to the fact that all of us were severely propagandized in school. I was pro-choice too, so I don't come from a place of judgment when I say that. I come from a place of understanding and re-examining how these ideas that are not natural were put into my head, that a woman should ever have a child ripped out of her womb. They are poisoned, they are torn limb from limb, and they can feel pain. We live in a society where you will see people outside marching in the streets if a dog is hit, and yet in a society where people casually talk about children being ripped from their mother's womb, which is the one place that they should be the safest. And the reality is that the most unsafe place in society, because you talk a lot about Black people and their issues, the most unplaced safe for a Black child in American society is in its mother's womb. And that is horrific, and it should be reversed.
Here's my issue with that, and there's several. And the person you're talking about is Michelle Williams, the actress, the white actress, not the singer in Destiny's Child, just for people to know. I don't want Michelle Williams to get a whole bunch of hate mail. What she said was, because of my reproductive choices, right? Because I had reproductive freedom and choices, I was able to engage in the career that I want. I think the problem is, and this is the problem I think with the left and the right, is sort of how we strategically deploy this language and also how we strategically deploy these ideologies. Specifically, this idea that, well, we want to protect children in Gaza, or we want to protect children, a dog on the street, but we don't want to protect the human life in a woman. We want to rip that one out. I think another way to think about it, and I think the debates that have been ensuing for decades, centuries now, is partially about what constitutes life. And for some of us, life is constituted in the womb. Some of it is at conception. Some of it, it's the thought of it. And for some people, it's much further along in the process. And so I don't want to assign to people who support abortion this idea that, these are full grown babies and we don't care and we're killing them. I think they begin from a very different scientific and...
Yeah, the basic science is this: if you have to kill it, it's alive.
Well,
that's probably the easiest way. If you have to do something to kill it, it's alive, right? So if it's dead, there's nothing, you don't have to do anything, it's dead. Right, because if it's dead, it can't keep growing. So if you have to get a doctor to go in and kill it, it's because it's alive.
The question is, what is the it, and whether it constitutes a baby, whether it constitutes human life. And for some people, to be clear, I'm not making the case for abortion or against it. I'm simply saying that the people who operate from that perspective have a very different take on this. And for me, as a man, I've made the decision that it's just not my call. It is, and that is wrong. Hold on. I want to finish the other part of the thought. I think the logical inconsistency that I see is actually often on the right, where they are passionately pro-life for pregnant mothers, or impregnated mothers, women who test positive on the pregnancy test, however you want to talk about it. But the moment that baby is born, they vote against prenatal care, they vote against Head Start, they vote against early childhood education. They don't do anything to stop the morbidity rates. They fight against food security. They fight, they amplify food deserts. They support public policies that reduce the possibility of life. And so it sounds to me oftentimes that the right isn't pro-life, they're just anti-abortion.
Okay, so I think you're being well-meaning, and I think that a lot of people who hold your perspectives have not fully thought through the entire picture. You see this a lot where you see people that are saying we need government solutions, we need to have early education, government programs to help, and they haven't yet realized that the entire problem was created by governments. You're going back to the same source of the problem.